but there are literally thousands of videos out there that explain exactly how to hit high-level techniques. They break down the exact techniques that professional tennis players use on their forehand. But despite that, very few adult tennis players, especially players that started playing later in life, are ever able to develop high-level modern techniques. And there's an underlying reason why, and that's what I want to talk about in this video, because unless you fix what I'm going to explain in this video, you're never going to develop the high-level technique that maybe deep down you want to be able to use and implement. So hopefully you find the video helpful. If you do, it'd be great if you give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel before, it's always greatly appreciated if you could do that as well. So what I'm talking about here is hand-to-eye coordination, or to be more accurate with it, eye-to-hand coordination and eye-to-foot coordination. In order to use high-level techniques and hit a modern forehand consistently and effectively, you need amazing eye-to-hand and eye-to-foot coordination. And that's why so few adult tennis players are able to develop high-level techniques. Because realistically, unless you played another ball sport, maybe like basketball or baseball or hockey or something like that, or soccer/football growing up, it is highly unlikely that your visual system developed in a way and you develop the coordination required in order to play high-level tennis. It is as simple as that, but coaches don't talk about it. There's all these videos out there that are breaking down the way that the pros hit the technique. They're talking about hitting Federer's forehand in 5 simple steps, or Djokovic's forehand in 6 simple steps, and it's not that simple. There are physical requirements that you need to have in order to use those techniques. The way that professional tennis players hit the ball is the most optimal way if you have the eye-to-hand coordination, if you have the eye-to-foot coordination to make it happen. If you don't have sufficient eye-to-hand and foot coordination, it's actually not the best way to hit it. It makes much more sense to simplify your strokes, take out some of the complication, make the timing easier, because overall that will enable you to play a higher quality of stroke more consistently. But what I'm going to be talking about here is training that you can do to actually improve your eye-to-hand and eye-to-foot coordination, because by doing brain-based training, you can improve eye-to-hand and eye-to-foot coordination, you can become more skillful, and that's what you need to do if you really want to use modern techniques and use them effectively and consistently. So in a moment, I'm going to show you how to do a little bit of vision training and a little bit of coordination training. But if you want to go through this in more detail, I've created a free class that's going to basically teach you how to structure whole programs. I'll place a link to that class down in the description so that you can check it out if you're interested. It's also going to teach you about how to break down and structure your practice sessions and to fix underlying problems with your strokes. So it's going to be a really useful video if you're serious about improving, and the link will be down in the description. When we're trying to improve eye-to-hand and eye-to-foot coordination, we're going to break them apart. So we're going to train vision separately, and we're going to train coordination separately, and then we're going to integrate them together. So I'm going to talk a little bit about vision training and show you a simple exercise. Then I'm going to talk about coordination and show you a simple exercise. Now, when it comes to vision, behind the scenes, it's kind of complicated the way it works, but the training is actually relatively simple once you know how to do it. Our eyes are like cameras, and we just need to point those cameras at whatever we're trying to look at. And obviously in tennis, normally that's going to be the ball. Our brain has different parts that process visual information, and we have other areas that are responsible for creating and coordinating eye movements, and the exercise that I'm going to show you and we're going to work on is related to eye movements. So we're going to do a simple eye circle. You're basically going to stand up tall, you're going to hold a nice tall spine, so it's really important that you have good posture, because part of the brain that we want to train, we activate it by standing up with good posture. We're then going to keep our head as still as we can, and we're going to perform a circle. So I'm going to be using my thumb, just looking at my thumbnail, and I'm going to perform a circle. And as I do this, I'm trying to keep my head as still as I can. It sounds like a really simple exercise, but I find a lot of adult players struggle with this. They're either not able to keep their head still, or they're not able to track their thumb as it moves. They think they're looking at it, but when you watch their eyes closely, they're actually losing the target. So what I want you to do is try this exercise for yourself and record yourself. And when you watch the recording back, did you keep your head still? And did you keep your eyes fixed on the target at all times? Or did you find that as you were going to the left, your head was going to the left, and as you were going to the right, different things were happening? And if you're not able to keep your head still and you're not able to keep your eyes on the target, then you want to work on it and practice doing that until you're able to. So this is going to train the quality of the eye movements And then we can add different progressions in. So the first progression is going to be to do it with different head positions, because when you change your orientation of your head, it creates changes in the movement receptors in the neck, and the feedback between the neck and the eyes is really important. So often players can do it in one position, but then when they move the head, they struggle to do it. So you can progress it and work on this position as well. Do your head to the left, do your head to the right. You can do it with your head down, you can do it with your head up and in different directions. But this is an example of a simple vision training exercise that you can work on. And you can actually try this as part of your warm-up before you play. A lot of players, they spend time working at desks or they're on screens all day, then they step out on court and they're just not able to switch on quickly. By doing this simple vision exercise, you'll probably find that it's going to help you to see the ball more clearly. It's going to help your timing when you step out on court. Now we're going to look at coordination. And again, coordination is kind of complicated behind the scenes in terms of how it works, but the training exercises are really simple. They actually look too simple, but they're extremely effective if you do them consistently and you work on them progressively. Now the nuts and bolts behind the scenes are we've got a part of the brain that creates movement and a part of the brain that coordinates movement. So if I'm using my left hand, which I'm relearning to play left-handed, it's the right side of my brain that creates that movement, and there's a bit back here that coordinates that movement. If I'm using my right hand, it's going to be the left side of the brain at the front that creates the movement, and the right side of the brain at the back, cerebellum, that coordinates the movement. And when you understand the roles of these different areas, we can create simple training exercises. It's just about choosing to do something coordinated and giving ourselves a specific target to try and hit. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to do basically 3 versions of it. We're going to work on the wrist and the forearm because it's such an important area, and it's an area that I find a lot of adult tennis players struggle with, and that's why they're not able to use high-level techniques and they can't control their shots when they hit with power. So we're going to work on this area, and we'll be doing a flexion, an extension, we're going to do a lateral glide, and then we're going to be doing a wrist circle. But you're going to be doing them in specific ways. So for the flexion extension, you'll start in neutral. So this is my neutral wrist position. This is also my neutral wrist position. We're going to do flexion like this, and then we're going to do extension like this. So you can see from neutral, my forearms are pointing up, my fists are pointing down. Then I'm going to go back through neutral, and then I'm going to go to the bottom where my forearms are pointing down and my wrists are going up. And we're just going to move smoothly between the two, trying to be as controlled as we can, trying to go through neutral each time. While you're doing that, you're going to hold good posture. Seems very simple, but I find a lot of players struggle with it. They'll do this and this and this, and they'll do all these different things, but they struggle to kind of go through neutral each time. So that's version 1. Version 2, the lateral glides, is going to be really similar. So now this is neutral. I'm going to go inwards with my forearms and my knuckles are kind of pointing out. And then I'm going to go outwards with my forearms and my knuckles are pointing in. And I'm going to glide through neutral each time like this. Again, looks really simple, but I find even more adult tennis players struggle with this movement. When they go to the outside, normally the hands are there and they basically do this, or they keep their forearms still and they do this. We're trying to do it in a specific way to target these parts of the brain. This is the movement that you're going to try and make happen. The final version is going to be a circle. So now we're basically hitting the outsides. We've just done the top and the bottom, the inside and the outside. Now we're going to combine it into a circle. So I'm going to go outside, top to outside, down to the bottom, to the inside, and up to the top. And I'm now missing out on that that middle position. So I'm going all around neutral, like so. And again, can you go in the other direction? And can you work on it smoothly and accurately? And we can do all 3 of these exercises at slow speeds and at fast speeds. So, can I take 4 seconds to do this circle? Can I do this circle really quickly and accurately? Can I take 10 seconds to do these circles? Looks very simple, but when done regularly, when added to other coordination training, it can make a massive difference, increase your level of coordination, so then you're more able to use higher level techniques. So that's a little bit of an introduction to improving visual skills in tennis and improving coordination. As you can see, it looks really simple. Sometimes people think it'll be too simple and it won't help them, but I can assure you, if you do this stuff consistently, it can make a massive difference. This is something that I learned about 10 years ago myself, and I was able to transform my own abilities as a right-handed player. And now that I've switched hands due to an injury and I'm relearning to play left-handed, I've been able to get to a pretty decent 4.5 level using my left hand by working on this type of thing regularly. Now again, if you'd like to learn more about it, I've created that class that's going to lay out kind of full programs and explain exactly what you need to do. So I'll place that link down in the description so that you can go through the class if you're interested. I wish it was as simple as going out and practicing, and if you keep on practicing, you keep on improving, but that's not the way it works. There's a skill component, and you've probably already found that out yourself. You watched a lot of videos, you've tried stuff, you know what you're supposed to do. It doesn't happen in the way, you can't make it happen when you're out there. This is why, and this is what you can start to do about it. So hopefully this video has been helpful to you. If it has, give me that thumbs up. Any questions or comments, leave them down below, and I'll catch you next time.